Killabo was the kind of boy who lived in the shadows of discipline, a name that rang like a warning bell through the corridors of Mavoko Junior School. He was 13, lean, wiry, with eyes that flickered with mischief like a flame, always on the brink of trouble. Teachers had come to know his routine. If he wasn't fighting, he was sleeping. If he wasn't sleeping, he was talking. And when he was quiet, that's when you worried the most. He sat at the back of Class 7B, a spot he had claimed like a throne of rebellion. From there, he cracked jokes, mimicked teachers, and passed crude notes while the lesson dragged on. He had no interest in books, no patience for rules, authority. To Killabo was just something to be tested, like a wall you pushed just to hear it creak. And yet there were times when his silence crept in like a fog, when his head would sink into his folded arms, eyes closed, his breathing slow. Sleep, for Killabo, wasn't just rest. It was an escape from the noise, from expectations, from the constant weight of being the boy everyone had already given up on, until that day, the day everything changed. It was a humid Tuesday afternoon, the kind that made the air thick and classrooms heavier. Miss O'Deed, the social studies teacher, was writing on the board, her chalk squeaking faintly as she scribbled something about civic responsibilities. Teehee class was quiet, heads bowed, pens scratching paper. Killabo had his head down again, but this time not on the desk. From the back of the room he had slipped silently under his table. His movements were practiced, like someone used to not being watched. No one noticed it. A sharp gasp shattered the silence. "Hey, what are you doing?" The voice came from Aching, a soft-spoken girl who sat 2 desks ahead. She stood up abruptly, her face a mask of shock and fury, her arms clutching at her skirt. Gasps erupted. All eyes turned to Killabo, who was now crawling backward, panic flashing across his face. But the damage had already been done. Aching's eyes were glassy with humiliation. Miss O'Deed froze, chalk falling from her hand, her face paling as the realization hit. Killabo out. Now the room was dead silent as he rose. There was no grin on his face this time, no swagger in his steps. Just a slow, shame-filled walk to the front, past the desks, past the stairs, past the weight of what he had done. The principal's office was waiting. So was the call to his mother. So was a 2-week suspension and something heavier, something darker. His actions had crossed a line that even his reputation could not excuse. At home, the silence was worse than any shouting. His mother sat in the corner, staring at the floor, her voice barely above a whisper when she finally spoke. "I don't even know who you are anymore." Killabo didn't fight back. He couldn't. During those 2 weeks, the world didn't feel so funny anymore. The streets were quieter, the jokes stayed in his throat. The mirror in his room, cracked and smudged, showed him a boy he didn't want to be anymore. He thought of Achin's face, her voice trembling. He thought of the look in Miss O'Deed's eyes. Not anger, disappointment, disgust. It was the first time Killaba truly felt small. When he returned to school, nothing was the same. Students moved away when he entered the room. Teachers watched him with narrowed eyes. The back of the classroom felt colder. No one laughed at his jokes anymore, because Killaba had become the punchline. But maybe that's where change begins, not with grand gestures, but with silence, with shame, with the realization that you've become someone even you can't respect. Maybe Killaba had reached the bottom. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to start climbing up.